One of the big reasons I'm a proponent for an iPad for a student with learning disabilities is the built-in accessibility. We don't need to layer in anything else to get speech to text and text to speech. For speech to text, so dictation, it's just Siri. And you don't really need to do anything within the settings. Siri is there, a couple of brief options, but there's not a lot to play with. However, it's just teaching kids that they can use Siri in a Google Doc to dictate their writing, pages, on a website, wherever it may be, they can use their voice to type. And it's built right in at the touch of a button or on the click of the keyboard where there is the microphone icon on the keyboard as it pops up. Couple of key things about thinking about speech to text. One is where the microphone is. Students often think that the microphone on an iPad is at the bottom, logically, because when we speak on a phone, that is where the microphone is. However, on the iPad, this microphone is at the top and or near the camera. Many have two nowadays. It's a very small dot. So students need to make sure that when they're using Siri for dictation, they're not speaking directly at the bottom. They're also not speaking directly at the screen because that will muffle it. They need to either have it away from their mouth a little bit and speaking in a regular voice, regular tone, good intonation, not too fast. Then they can use Siri effectively for dictation. Or if they're in a crowded room or don't want to be too loud, if they speak more directly to where the microphone is, that also increases accuracy and the ability for a student to dictate their writing. One skill is to make sure that they think about punctuation. So either that they stop after one sentence and select it on the keyboard, or get in the better habit of saying at the end of a sentence, period or question mark. So it's really fun to use. I encourage kids to try it out with some fun, silly sentences when they want to practice it. In the contrast, where we need to get text to speech. So we want to be able to listen to the text on the devices. Here you need to go into accessibility, which is again under settings, and we're going to focus on the category of spoken content. So speak selection and speak screen. These are usually turned off. You want to turn them on. Speak selection, as it tells you, is that you can select text like we would to copy, paste, cut, and now there will be an option to speak. So a couple of sentences, you can just highlight those sentences and select speak. Speak screen means that you put down two fingers from the very top on a quick swipe and it will read everything on the screen. Now, this is great if you're in iBooks, a document, but if you're on a website, it's going to read everything on the screen. So headers and the code that's kind of buried in there sometimes gives it some crazy language. So you have to balance out when you're using the quick swipe down to read, to listen to a whole document maybe, or a book, and when you're just selecting a bit of text to listen to in the short time. When you turn it on, a couple of features, again, highlight content. This can be a great one, particularly for students who are learning to read, because that will highlight the words as it's going along. This is really great for them to track where the words are and get some of that visual recognition. Typing feedback, I haven't found very beneficial. It just types every word, says every word after you type it. That can be a little overwhelming auditorily. Voices is a great area for students to explore and find those voices that work for them. And then lastly, speaking rate. Speaking rate is a real fun one when kids first find it. They love to go to the rabbit and then the turtle and see what it does. Really fun. But it's important for them to realize this is here, because if a student is regularly listening to text, the hope is over time that they will be able to speed this up. When I read at a pretty rapid rate, a little closer to the rabbit. But students, when they're first listening, are probably somewhere about the middle. But encouraging them over time to increase that rate as is comfortable, and it helps them maintain the ability to understand the spoken word and have comprehension. So speech to text, text to speech built right into an iPad makes it a great device for a student who needs those abilities in a quick, easy form without adding on any other software.